There's a village near Nalasapara that no one really talks about. It's not because it's tiny or remote, but because the people there are careful. Every single evening, the gates of the village are bolted shut at exactly 6 p.m. There are no exceptions, no arguments. The locals will tell you it's for safety, but they never explain what they're trying to keep out. Or, perhaps, what they're trying to keep in. One evening, a man who was just passing through made a terrible mistake. He wandered into the village just as the sun was beginning to set. He wasn't from there. He didn't know the rule, and he certainly didn't know the fear that came with breaking it. He had just finished eating some chicken at a roadside stall and was walking back, completely unaware that in this village, what you eat can be far more important than who you are. At around 6:20 p.m., piercing screams echoed through the quiet lanes. It wasn't a scream of pain, but a scream of pure, desperate hunger. Villagers found the man near the center square, crouched low to the ground. His eyes were wild, his mouth was smeared with saliva and dirt, and his entire body was shaking so violently it looked like something inside was trying to claw its way out. Then, he started to eat anything he could find. He grabbed vegetables from baskets, stuffed handfuls of raw grain from sacks into his mouth, and scraped leftovers from the dirt. He was chewing frantically but not swallowing, a low growl rumbling in his chest between bites. The sight of it reminded the village elders of a chilling scene from the movie Kantara when the Guliga spirit possesses a person, consuming everything with a primal, thoughtless hunger. It took nearly 10 strong men to rush in and restrain him. As they pinned him to the ground, one of the elders shouted, "Tell us, what do you want?" The man's thrashing stopped instantly. Slowly, his head lifted, and in a voice that was deep and guttural, a voice that was not his own, he said just 4 words, "I want a pig." A heavy silence fell over the crowd. There wasn't a single pig in the entire village. Pigs had been banned decades ago. No one raised them, no one sold them, and no one ever touched pork. Even more strangely, the man himself had never eaten pork in his entire life. Everyone knew this. But the thing that was now wearing his skin didn't care. The man's hunger grew worse. His body began to twist into unnatural shapes. Foam gathered at his lips, and his teeth chattered as if he were freezing, even though the night was warm and humid. Someone had to do something. A few men ran to a neighboring settlement. Desperate, an hour later they returned, dragging a live, squealing pig into the village. The moment the animal passed through the gate, the possessed man let out a blood-curdling scream. The ropes that held him snapped as if they were threads. With inhuman strength, he lunged forward, grabbed the pig, and broke its neck with a sound like a thick branch cracking in two. Then, he began to eat it. Raw, no fire, no knife, no hesitation. Blood soaked the ground. The sound of bones cracking between his teeth filled the air. The villagers stood frozen, paralyzed by a horror so profound they couldn't even scream. They couldn't look away. When it was finally over, when there was almost nothing left of the animal, the man collapsed into a heap on the ground. By morning he had no memory of the night's events. He woke up confused, asking only one question. "Why does my mouth taste like iron?" The elders said nothing. They quietly washed the blood-stained ground with salt and ash. That day, the village gates were closed even earlier than usual. Even now, the locals whisper that something ancient and hungry lives in that village. It only awakens when the sun sets, and it feeds through the bodies of the unsuspecting. That is why the gates are always closed at 6 p.m., and that is why no one dares to eat meat before passing through. Because some hunger is not human.